You're watching Thrifty Kaniffy. Hello everyone, and welcome to Thrifty Kaniffy. I'm going to be responding to Tobias's open tag for why do we buy junk knives. So let's kind of go through this and I'll kind of explain my rationale for why I end up buying junk knives. First and foremost, I get junk knives because I kind of have to. And I'll explain that when I buy a knife on eBay, frequently they throw in one good knife and then throw in junk with it. And so you don't really have the option of opting out of the junk. I suppose you could message and tell them, hey, just don't even send that stuff. I know that that's kind of their motivation, is to get rid of a lot of stuff that otherwise wouldn't sell on its own. And what they'll do is they'll put a good knife in with the bad stuff, and then you kind of just bidding on the one knife, and then you get the extra that comes with it. And these are all examples of that. This is a Frost of some kind, and just like a lockback, very cheaply made, and it's got the flying saucers on it for hinges, which I've discussed in a previous video that you guys can check out if you've never seen it. Yeah, I was just making fun of a Tack Extreme that I had. But yeah, these are real low quality. This one is even kind of dangerous. It won't even lock up. It's a liner lock that doesn't lock up. And if you were to use that and think it was locked, it could be really dangerous. And here's a third one. This one's actually got cracks in it. This one's not safe to use either. So I just don't, I don't recommend buying any of these really, really low end knives. I don't use them. I simply have them in a box that I use to, when I'm going to go scrap metal or whatever. I'll just throw them in there until I'm ready to break them up and piece them out as a metal scrap. But that takes care of that section, and that's sort of the rationale for why I have those. Now, another, I guess this might be more relevant to what the open tag was about. Knives that you buy, are junk, but you're going to use and you want. And I wouldn't necessarily call these junk, but I know a lot of people would. And that's the right edge knives. These are actually all made by their parent companies. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. SZCO, Cisco. We'll just say it's Cisco, okay? And these are all what I would call discovery knives. And I actually carry this one quite a bit, this one at the top. So this is a definite user. I've made this thing razor sharp, and it's a carry among maybe about 30 knives that I rotate in and around right now. The list is ever growing and changing, but I think it's around 30 right now. But this one I carry. I just love the design of it. I like the shape and the style, and I can't afford, like the real thing, the Moki or whatever, or Mokai. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but that would be kind of my dream knife or a grail for me, have a Moki. But those things are way pricey. So this is what I've used instead, and I've been pretty happy with it. I mean, it's very sharp. I've gotten it razor sharp, and it does what I need it to do. But these other knives, like I say, are more like discovery knives, and I just feel like buying these as a beginner, this is what I recommend, to really people who haven't carried knives before. I recommend right edges so that they can get a feel for the size, the dimensions, the weight, the usefulness for their task, right? Like how well the work is performed by the knife they're using. And so it's a sense of discovery. And so I just recommend them for those reasons. So you have this Big John folding hunter, right? And let's say you were interested in a buck 110, but you didn't want to shell out the $60. This knife will just kind of tell you everything you want to know about what it's like to carry a 110 without the expense, right? And whether you want to carry it in a sheath, whether you don't want to carry it in a sheath, carry it in the back pocket, front pocket. It can tell you a lot just by buying a similar knife, right? And then, you could step up to the real thing. So, a little more heft in this one, but it gives you a pretty broad sense of what it is you're dealing with. So, those are the reasons why I buy cheap knives. Now, these are specifically just for looks and just to be a part of the collection. These are, so inexpensive, and they just really don't make a ton of different models of these Spanish knives in affordable price range. I mean, you're going to spend a lot to get something of a similar nature. So for these, they're just good value because of what the market availability is for these sorts of things. Now you can get some colonial knives that are really cheap, and I've even shown those on the channel too. There are sort of these long style blades, right? Now, I wouldn't call these toothpicks, but that's kind of the blade shape and the style of knife that you're looking at here. So you can kind of get an idea and a sense of whether you want to carry that. And for me, this is strictly a knife to look at. Just the practicality of it, the comfortability of using that long term as an EDC for something. I don't see that. So these are strictly showpieces, and for those reasons I bought those particular ones. Now there's one other reason why sometimes I'll buy a cheap knife, and that is because I like to polish and shine and try to improve upon an existing knife sometimes. And this is a super good candidate for it. This is multicolored Pakistan-made Barlow. I think it's made by Right Edge. It has a Right Edge style number. If you'll notice, most all the Right Edge numbers have a 6-digit number that starts with a 20. Now this one's made in Pakistan. A lot of them are just made in China. These are all made in China. So I think these are maybe a little better made than the typical Pakistan knife you're going to get from Right Edge. But this is an exception to that. This one's pretty well made for the price, and it's like a $6-7 knife, $8 knife, depending on where you get it shipped from. But it's just a really nice knife to fettle. I guess that's the word. I know that Stuart Harvey has used that word, to fettle, to improve upon, to tweak. I sanded the covers. They were a little uneven on either side, and they were kind of oddly shaped. I tried to round these off to a more symmetrical type shape. Got it nice and smooth in most of the areas. I've shined the bolsters up and the blades, and you can see the shine of the liners there on the top there and the bottom here. I've got to pretty much a mirror finish, and I mean, it's not going to look like that when you first get it. So it just kind of gives you practice on improving your buffing and your sanding and your just your finish control on knives without the worry of screwing something up. So as you can see, that's pretty impressive. I mean, when you look at how it looked like when I first got it, it was pretty much like that. Maybe not even that nice. So now it's in a mirror finish. And so that's the reason why I buy cheap knives. I like to play with these and tweak them, and these are for discovery. I got a couple that are ones that I just like because to get something similar you'd have to pay a lot more, and then you get junk that you don't necessarily want, but it's part of a lot or something of that nature. But that's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, subscribe, ring that bell, and be made aware of videos when they drop. You guys have a fantastic day. Take care.